Hello everyone, and welcome to our first Dominaria United draft. I really like the format that I've seen so far, with a whole lot of the preview drafts, and yesterday I just didn't get a good opportunity to jump into one of the queues and cram some matches, but today we're gonna rectify that. If you haven't taken a look already, I already have a full limited set review up on my channel, separated by color as well as rarity. The archetype breakdown video is not yet released, but it is on the way. Alright, we got some spicy ones here in the pack. This is definitely not a bad card. It does do some amount of work, but it definitely needs support. Now the thing I do like about it is that it is in green, which is a really good base color for doing a lot of sweet domain stuff. And if we take it, we're looking to get back Strength of the Coalition specifically, which is a pretty good card in the kind of deck Johnny's looking to go into. Otherwise in the pack we have a lot of blue and red cards, and some black cards, that all of my next opponents are going to be fighting over anyway, which is an even better reason to go for the obvious card that's unlike almost anything else. If we will take up the shield, we will take it, but we're really hoping people just pass on that Strength of the Coalition. This early in the format, I'm not expecting people to have a perfect grasp on exactly what the power levels of the cards are, but I'm kind of going to go with the idea that my opponents are smart enough to understand that that many good blue and red and black cards inside of a pack is hard to pass up. Now we have Ivy, which I think is just okay. I mean, it's obviously better than average, but as far as rares go, a lot of the time it's just going to be a 2-1 for 2 that makes your combat tricks better, and I don't really have that many combat tricks. We could also just take a base, the Radiant Growth, which I definitely don't want to take necessarily a black card here. Like, these are good black cards and all, but I think I'm just going to take the Radiant Grove. We passed up on a lot of blue and red and black in pack 1, and as much as I enjoy Sengir Connoisseur, we're just going to take this. Now we have a Tatiova, which is a pretty solid card. A Deathbloom Gardener, which is kind of exactly the sort of card you're going to be looking for in the 5-color domain deck if you don't have the perfect mana fixing, and sometimes even when you do. Otherwise, let's see, Floriferous Vine Wall, not really what I'm looking for. Jaya's Firenado is kind of subpar removal. I think I'm just going to take the Tatiova. A second Tatiova. Well, the thing is, your opponent does need to necessarily remove it at some point, otherwise you'll start to get value out of it. I don't really think it's Haunted Mire. Talarian Terror is a little ways away from what I'm trying to do. We'll just take a second Tatiova. Now there's a Bortuk, and a off-color duel. If we are going to be doing the multicolor domain deck, Bortuk is very good, but there's also an Elvish Hydromancer, which is it's kind of just about the same. Like, Bortuk gets you back your best creature, and right now our best creature is Tatiova. Elvish Hydromancer makes a copy of something, but you can play this earlier, and we already have a blue green. I don't mean that it's the same in power level, I mean it's kind of the same in the situation, but I think I'm going to try to live the dream and go big, so we'll take that. Karplusan Forest is fine, not really the colors we're looking for exactly. There's also a Snare Spinner and a Scout the Wilderness. I think I'm going to take the Scout the Wilderness, with a special nod to combat research. I mean, the Snare Spinner, not the Scout the Wilderness, of course. Now we can take a Jodas Codex, which we're looking to make work. Only other card that I'm really looking at here is Elfame Worm. Yeah, we'll take a Codex. I think if we get there, this card's good, but slow. and if we don't get there, this card's pretty bad. Elfhamorm kind of makes the cut no matter what, though. I guess we'll take that. Argivian Phalanx. I do like this card. Then there's Stall for Time. Stall for Time is pretty hard to make bad. Yeah, I think we take the Stall for Time. If we get enough 2s, and some of the better 3s, Argivian Phalanx will just be better. But we do have a chance of actually kicking the Stall for Time. I'm still going to take the Argivian Phalanx. Now we have Espionage and a Geothermal Bog. We're not playing black or red right now. I'm surprised that this many cards came back. I guess Aggressive Sabotage is kind of one of the not as good ones. We'll take Shore Up. I think Shore Up's actually pretty good. Phyrexian Espionage is just fine. So far looking interesting. Not nearly as much mana fixing in the packs as I'd like, which is, I mean, it's good for the format. It means that people are actually taking the lands when they should. But we didn't really pass up on anything super good besides the 3 mana land fixers. Now we have Idyllic Beachfront, which I think is the pretty obvious pick for us. Only other card in the pack I'm really excited about is like Tolarian Geyser, but no, we're going to take the Beachfront. Now we have Floriferous Vine Wall, which, I mean, let's be real, it is replacement level, I think. But I think it's okay enough with what we're trying to do. Now there's a Clockwork Drawbridge, which I don't think is very good if you have a lot of things to do. It just takes so much mana to tap, but I don't think we're playing these other cards, so we'll put it in the deck. Colossal Growth? I actually do like Colossal Growth. I think this card's pretty solid. If I want a combat trick, this is one I can play. We'll just put it in the sideboard for now. Now there's a Scout the Wilderness. We will take that. I'm not super happy about playing that card, but it is playable. Maria, which is just an unsupported archetype. Some pretty solid black cards. Relic of Legends. Salvaged Mana Worker. I don't want to take a pick 1 Salvaged Mana Worker, but it definitely is the kind of 2-drop that you want inside of a deck like this, that just enables almost all of your turn 3 plays. There's also a Bite Down, which is pretty solid. Yeah, I'm gonna take... I really don't want to take the pick 1 Salvaged Mana Worker, but for some reason in my heart of hearts I don't believe it's gonna come back to me. And right now we have... well, we don't actually have any removal now. We could just take the Bite Down. Hope to get that other one back. Mesa Cavalier is fine. Magnagoth Sentry is actually quite nice. Reach is just a good ability. Yeah, I think I'm on the Magnagoth Sentry. I don't want to take the Sacred Peaks. Mossbeard Ancient, Barkweave Crusher, Faith Bonder, Clockwork Drawbridge, and a Sojourner. Yeah, Sojourner's definitely not awful. We don't have nearly as many lands as we kind of want for that right now, but I think it's still a good card. So it's either that or like Mossbeard Ancient or another Magnagoth Sentry. And I think the difference between the 4/6 and the 4/4 is big enough to where I'm going to be happy taking the Sojourner here. Slimefoot Survey does do kind of what we're looking for, but there's also a Sunlit Marsh, and we do need the land types here, so we're just going to take the Sunlit Marsh. Also a Deathbloom Gardener, hoping that I'll get one of those 2 cards back, but realistically we're looking at like Juniper Order Rootweaver, or perhaps the Elfhamorm, as cards that will actually come back to us. Slimefoot Survey here, but there's also another Radiant Grove. Hmm. I can't really emphasize enough how much these lands are important for the deck, so I'll just take another bit of mana fixing. Now we have Threats Undetected, and Threats Undetected is actually really good. It gets different power, so we do have a lot of things with 4 power, but we also have an Elfheimworm with 5, Tatiova with 3, Snare Spinner with 1, Vine Wall with 0. It's pretty easy to make Threats Undetected a pretty good card, and the only other thing in the pack I'm really considering is Bite Down, which we already have one of. I'll take the Threats Undetected. Berg, which is just okay. Not really exactly what I'm looking for, but there's an Argivian Cavalier, which not only is a solid 3, but it makes our Argivian Phalanx much better. And right now I think that's what we need, is like actual creatures to play. Contaminated Aquifer? That's a consideration. Well, if we're still on this white plan for any reason, like casting the Ajani, it could be right to just take this, but I haven't considered that maybe we can just cut the Argivian Phalanx and the Clockwork Drawbridge and be blue-green. So we'll take the Contaminated Aquifer here. Now we have Urborg Repossession, which is pretty solid. We have enough free white sources to be able to cast the Ajani. Let's put this in the sideboard. We're going to take the Urborg Repossession here and see if we can make this work. Now we have a Splatter Goblin, which is kind of a classic 2-1 in the green-black and well, just black decks in general. I like this card a lot. Pretty good on the defense, okay on the offense, and we're looking to be a bit more defensive. Yeah, we'll take it. We already took one Contaminated Aquifer. Vohar, and we have some pretty solid spells to use. We don't really have enough cards to make combat research that good. Yeah, we'll just take the Vohar. There's a Mossbeard Ancient and a Barkweave Crusher. Mossbeard is not bad. I don't mind Mossbeard. Barkweave Crusher is a 4, and it's also a 2 to get with the Threats Undetected. Yeah, we'll take the Mossbeard Ancient. Slimefoot Survey comes back, but there's also a Timely Interference. Timely Interference is a very good card, and we're not really ramping towards that much, so we'll take the Timely Interference. Broken Wings and Phyrexian Espionage. I think we're good on playables right now. We'll put the sideboard card in. I don't think we're going to be hurting for Phyrexian Espionage in the next pack if we want one. Llanowar Green Widow is pretty above par. It's already reserved, so we'll just lock that in and look at the rest of what we have. Nael is okay. It's not bad if we end up with all 5 colors, but we don't really have any way for the red to happen yet. We passed up on a couple of those. We'll just take the Green Widow and be pretty happy with an above par card. Okay, so Wooded Ridgeline is definitely a consideration, but there's also a Haunted Mire. Haunted Mire is kind of exactly what we're looking for now. There's also a Cleaving Skyrider, which is just a good card. But we're only looking to splash the white, not really put too many more cards in there. We have the Ajani after all. That's kind of our only card that we're really hoping to play. So if we take the Wooded Ridgeline, it makes all of our domain cards better. But what do we have for domain right now? Yeah, it looks like our only domain cards are like Bortuk and Yavimaya Sojourner. So right now I'm on Haunted Mire. It may be better to take the Wooded Ridgeline, but I'll go with the colors we're actually playing over the cards we might get later. I don't think I'm going to take the second Threats Undetected, but I am definitely excited about the Molten Tributary. The only other cards in the pack I'm considering are Bone Splinters and Writhing Necromass. We'll just take the Tributary though. Rona, which is difficult to cast but not impossible. Also another Snare Spinner, and I really like Snare Spinner. Can we play that? We can, it's just very hard. Not really a card we're going to be casting on turn 3, or 4 rather. Pretty much ever. Otherwise there's an Eerie Soul Tender or a Magnagoth Sentry. But I think Snare Spinner's fine. Well, yeah, we'll take, I think Magnagoth Sentry the more I think about it. Lagomos, we can play, but I'm not super excited about. It might just be the Jayus Firenado. We're running pretty low on removal. We do have the one way to cast it, so we would need slightly more than that. Otherwise, it's like Hexbane Tortoise. I'm not really excited about that one. Shalai's Acolyte's actually fine. And there's a Vanquisher's Axe. I don't think we have too many things with... Actually, we do have the Tatiova that has 3 power for the threats undetected. Yeah, we'll take a Shalai's Acolyte. We have enough free white sources to make that okay. At least playable. Weatherseed Treaty is not bad, but a Vine Shaper Prodigy is kind of exactly... Well, there's also a Czar. Whew, well... Czar is extremely powerful. And we do have the right setup for it. Vine Shaper's just a 2 that gets better in the late game. Czar kind of does exactly what we're looking to do. We have plenty of white sources for it. That's a tough call. Yeah, we'll take a Czar. Now there's a Tribute to Urborg, which we definitely can cast, but there's also a Salvaged Mana Worker. Maybe our mana is just good enough with 7 non-basics to cast what we have, and the Tribute to Urborg is just good removal, and I do not really want to pass that up. So Furus Springs, well, we can play it, but we're not using any red cards. So I'm thinking we should be taking either the Snare Spinner or the Broken Wings for the sideboard. So I'm going to take the Snare Spinner. Or maybe I should be taking the Nail. I do have the 5 basic land types. Yeah, we'll take a Nail. Let's try it. Yeah, of course we pass up on the 2 and we get another Nail. I don't really think I want to play another Nail. A Gaia's Might. I don't really think I'm in the market for another random combat trick. I already have one in the sideboard I don't think I'm playing. We'll just take I don't know. I guess we'll take Gaia's Might. We're not playing the other one, that's the biggest problem. Now we have an Impulse and a Scout the Wilderness. How many blue sources do we have? Main deck it looks like 3? Without any basics. Already have 1 Scout the Wilderness. Let's take an Impulse for the sideboard. Sholdred's Restoration or Argivian Cavalier. A Thrill of Possibility. We only have the 1 single source of red. Might just be like Sholdred's Restoration. I think there's a way that we can make that work. Now there's another Snare Spinner and a Voda-Sea Scavenger. We're just going to take the Snare Spinner and a Jayus Firenado, which we actually have a decent chance of playing. That card we're not playing, and this card. Okay. I'm decently happy about how that went. Time kind of flew through that draft a bit faster than I was hoping. I think we can afford to put the Clockwork Drawbridge in the sideboard. We're going to play the Shore Up and the Timely Interference, because we have some pretty important to keep around things, specifically the Tsar, the Nael, Tatiovas. I think the Vohar is fine. I think we have good enough mana to make that alright. But how many actual instants and sorceries do we want to get back? Urborg Repossession is pretty great. Tribute to Urborg is nice. Bite Down is pretty nice. Threats Undetected is pretty good. Jaya's Firenado is fine. We have 2 sources of red right now without any basics. Is that worth it? I don't think so. I think it's just a little greedy. For Domain, we only have the Sojourner, the Bone Rattle, Czar, and Nael. So I think I'm fine playing the mana the way it is without any like basics in red. And do we want to play the Shalai's Acolyte? I think so. I mean, as it stands now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 free white sources in the deck. Let's take this stuff, move it over. Well, we do need to take out 2 more cards. I don't think it's right to remove the Timely Interference. I think that card is just good enough on its own. Yavimaya Sojourner also I think is just too good in this deck. The Vortic is also way too good to just pull out. It could be one of our worst 3s, or one of our worst 2s, like the Vine Wall. The Vine Wall might just be kind of medium. Nah, I think we do play that. Scout the Wilderness? Is that not good enough? Yeah, maybe that is just a little bit slow. If we take out the Scout the Wilderness, Mossbeard Ancient's probably next on the chopping block, because we never know if we're actually going to hit the 7th land. We do have a pretty okay deck that's pretty good at getting to the late game, with, you know, some reach creatures, a lot of good beef on the ground. 16 creatures, it's a okay amount, and some recursion. I don't think Sheoldred's Restoration makes this cut of the deck, but it's already in the sideboard, so I don't think I have to worry about that. How does Threats Undetected look right now? So we have Splatter for 2, Vine Wall 0, Snare Spinner 1, Vohar, what's Vohar? 1, Tatiova for 3, Green Widow for 4, Nael for 2, Magnagoth for 4, Elfheim for 5, Shalai's Acolyte for 3, 4, 6. So we have 1, 5, multiple 4s, multiple 3s, multiple 2s, and Snare Spinners and Vohar for 1. So pretty much no matter what, off of the Threats Undetected, we will be drawing 2 cards. So I do like that. And they're 2 guaranteed creatures. And 2 of the ones we can go get, specifically Snare Spinners and Magnagoth Sentries, we have multiple copies of and have reach. So it's kind of hard if we manage to cast this and then cast one of these to just immediately die on the backswing to like an evasive creature. So I like that. Argivian Phalanx, I don't think that one makes the cut. I think we do have enough creatures, but I don't know what I cut for it. Maybe just like maybe an Elfheim Worm? Is this just better than Elfheim Worm? No, because Elfheim's a 5 we can get off the Threats Undetected. We also have Zara at 4. Yeah, let's just add in some basics, see what it recommends. I think we only play the 1 plains, maybe 2. Definitely gonna play 2 at least islands. Swamp? What are we even casting with black? Splatter Goblin, Vohar, and Vortic? Maybe Splatter Goblin's a little bit greedy. Let's double check our 2-drop slot and see what that's looking like. Urborg Repossession we don't have to cast on turn 2. Splatter Goblin is definitely a card that, like, we shouldn't be casting in the late game. So maybe we cut the Goblin, play the Phalanx, and then we can actually put in the 3 plains. the one swamp. Cut down there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see what this looks like. Let's put these over here. Black, 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 and more. And we're only looking to cast Vohar, Tribute to Urborg, Urborg Repossession, and the Bortuk off of 5 black sources, and no other mana fixing except a Floriferous Vine Wall. Maybe I need to add in one more source here. What are we looking at for white? Sunlit Marsh, Radiant Grove, Radiant Grove. Yeah, we can probably cut 1 Plains. I don't think that's too greedy. What's green looking like? 3 forests, 2 Radiant Groves. What? That really it? Oh wow. No, Haunted Mire, 6. What about blue? Aquifer, Beachfront, and then 3. That's 5. Maybe the Shore Up is a cut, and we bring in the Fire. No, we can't bring in the Fire Nado. That's way too greedy. Maybe the Scout the Wilderness does make it. We cut the Shore Up, and we take 1 Plains out. We put in the 1 forest, and then we run it like this and just kind of hope that we can survive a little while off the strength of what we have until we can start like, you know, sifting through some cards with Nael, maybe looting with Vohar, or getting Scout the Wilderness online. We don't have time for a whole lot of games today. I do have to go somewhere in about an hour and some change. But, oh, what? Okay, sure. But, I'm gonna try and get through as many of these as I can. There's definitely a chance that we can get out aggroed by a couple of the decks in the format. We're definitely more along the mid-range route, and we don't have that much card advantage, but we do have a decent amount of card quality. Czar is pretty great. Magnagoth Sentries are just really solid. We also have a Planeswalker to dig us a little deeper in there. And there is a possibility that we can play that Planeswalker on turn 3. I don't really think the format punishes you too hard for doing that. Like, there's definitely going to be times when opponents are trying to do domain stuff, and they just don't have a good turn 2 play to punish you, and you're on the play, and you can just, you know, throw in a Johnny out there with only 2 loyalty. Okay, we have found our game. And, oh boy, why is our cards looking so small? Okay, just a little small this time. Everything's looking much smaller than usual. We have a pretty bad hand here. We can't really cast anything in it at all. So I think we are going to have to maul. Like, this is so small, I'm having trouble seeing. Like, why are we struggling here? We have a Radiant Grove, Plains, Tatiova, Contaminated Aquifer. We do have green, green, blue here. We also have an Ajani. Yeah, I think this is definitely a hand worth keeping. What did we put on the bottom? I guess we put the Plains on the bottom? Since we already have the white source off the Radiant Grove? Yeah, pretty happy with that. Perfect mana. Then we're going to play out the Radiant Grove turn 1, because it gives us the best possible chances of playing a good 2 on turn 2. They're on the think about it plan, which is valid. Yeah. Oh, they're on the play. Whoops. Okay. Thran portal? Oh boy. Yeah, that's fair. What do we have? Sojourner. And right now we're gonna have 4 land types in play, starting turn 2. So we're definitely on the pathway to playing this pretty quickly. We already have 1-2, so that's only 6 mana now. Clockwork Drawbridge is fine. We don't really draw a great 2, but we do draw our 5th basic land type, so we will actually have all of them on turn 3 if we want them. But I think what we're going to do is give ourselves out towards playing the Tattoo on turn 3. If they're looking to do like Clockwork Drawbridge stuff, that's fine with me. That's a very expensive card to cast, and they can't just... Oh, we're looking at the Defender deck over here, okay. Interesting. I mean, we do have a removal spell. We have a lot of stuff going for us here, we just need to cast it all, you know? Kind of have perfect mana. If they remove this, I'm not too worried, because I think we can follow it up with immediate Yavimaya Sojourner next turn. Even with a tap land. And I think that might be what we do anyway. They don't have any way to punish us here, unless they have exactly counterspell for the Ajani. But I think we'll be better off if we play out the Sojourner. How much is Sojourner? 4 mana. If we play out the Molten Tributary, it's only 3. Okay. Well, we are not going to attack. They can tap one of our things if they want to, but they have an obvious block there. It's a bit of a free roll. Next turn, we could theoretically punish them with a Bite Down or a Tribute to Urborg, but I think I'm more interested in just playing out the Ajani. Another Clockwork Drawbridge. So I think they're trying to go all out on the Defender plan. Captain's Call? Sure. Captain's Call is pretty far away from being something I'm worried about. Okay, so we have 5 lands, 2 different ways to punish them for some kind of bad block. I think we could just play out the Ajani and +1. Start getting immediate value. But undo, we need white from here. Oh wait, we can't. We actually have to do it the other way. White, green, and a colorless. We can keep up the removal spell here, but we are going to reveal the top card. And we do get it. It is a Snare Spinner. Pretty cool. And we'll just pass the turn and see if they have some kind of aggression, or if they want to just start out like tapping down our board or try and get in at the Ajani. They have 3 cards, we have 4 cards. I think our 4 cards are pretty great. What do we got here? Oh, just to draw 3? Sure. I mean, that's definitely good, but, gonna be up 2 cards on that exchange. They do find a land. Okay, do we do anything here? I don't think so. Shalai's Acolyte? We're a little far away from actually doing anything with it. Do we just play out the Snare Spinner? And... like... put a counter on everything? No, that would just kill our Planeswalker. We'll just reveal. And we do draw. That's pretty great news. So I think we just play out a snare spinner and we get ready to hold up a removal spell. There's so little in the format that punishes us so bad. And we're getting closer and closer to the Tatiova, just like critical massing our way through this situation. They have 4 cards in hand. It looks like a lot of lands going on. Destroy evil. That's pretty unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything about it. It only destroys. I can get it back if I want to with the tribute. Not the tribute, the Urborg repossession. Yeah. If they want to do something and try and attack into a Johnny, that's fine with me. Every removal spell they use is good for me here. What do we got? No attack? Alright, do I do anything? I guess the answer is no. Oh, we have a play on my turn? Leyline Binding. Exile target non-land permanent on my upkeep, huh? Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I mean, I got, what, 2 cards out of it? Scout the Wilds. So if we do that, it puts it on tapped, right? We can play it with the kicker cost. So we do get the soldier tokens. Yeah, I do think that we do that. We're going to cast it with kicker. White. We're going to go get, I guess another green source. I think that's the thing we're most like gatekept on here, is the green. So we'll do that. Get our tokens. Be one step closer to the Tatiova plan. Pass turn. So far these clockwork drawbridges have done actually nothing. They've just been 2 straight up blanks. They don't have anything they're pressuring us with. We have 2 removal spells if they ever do start to pressure us. Like we have blockers for flying. Okay, so Walking Bulwark is going to make it to where they do have good attacks with the Academy wall. Oh, okay. They're going a big aggro now. Yeah. Okay, so this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we just put a soldier token here. And then we just make the best blocks we can on these other tokens over here. I think this is fine. We'll just take the 6 and go to 12. We sacrificed 1 creature, they sacrificed 2. We traded once. Then I untap. I can immediately bite down. We're going to play out the land for sure. Is this land number 7? It sure is. So with that in mind, we're actually going to do something. First, we're going to bite down first. We'll have this. Bite that. Play out the Radiant Grove. What? Well, I don't... Oh, it's underneath there, yeah. We'll choose this basic forest. Yeah, with flying and haste, huh? I think in the event that they somehow have another one, I don't want to just rush in immediately. I think we'll just stay back, hold up our removal, and try to leverage this Tatiova to a victory. Like, we have a lot of stuff in our hand. I think one of the ways we lose is trying to get too aggressive instead of leveraging the card advantage we already have. Academy Wall, once again, this doesn't do anything. Talus Lookout. Well, that's certainly a good one. But I think we're going to tribute to Urborg that at the end of the turn, maybe? Actually, maybe we don't. Maybe it is just straight up worse than, like, everything else we have going on here. Well, they only have one card. What are the odds that we get punished here? Good enough to where I don't think it's worth. There's another land, and I think we turn it into a flyer. Or maybe we just turn the basic forest. We do have 2 Radiant Groves now. Yeah, we'll select and do the basic forest. Yeah, this is why you take a Tatiova. If your opponent just sometimes doesn't do anything in the game, and then you just run away with it like this. We'll play out a Nael. Actually, yeah. I mean, they don't really have any great way to punish us here. Then we'll go to combat, and we'll beat in for 3. If they'd like to block, sure, I mean, just a land for us. They can't undo the damage that Tatiova's going to deal. And like it or not, that thing was just gonna get something eventually anyway. Like next turn we can attack safely with Nael. But that's it. Impede momentum on Nael. Sure. Yeah, that card is really, really bad in a deck like this one. And they're going through a lot of cards in their deck. Like they have looted a lot. Do they even have a second aggressive walking bulwark? It's possible they don't. Now there are 14 cards in deck. Okay. What's happening here? I don't... Oh, yeah, they're gonna tap it and kill it. Sure. What? Okay. Yeah, no questions, Your Honor. We're just going to play a Sunlit Marsh. We're going to make our swamp into a 3/3. Do we play out the Shalai's Acolyte, or do we just wait till we can kick it? I think at this point, with 2 cards in their hand, I think we do just play it out off of the back of the swamp specifically, or no, off the back of the forest. We could still cast a Tribute to Urborg if we need to. Actually, oh, whoops. Whoopsie. Yeah, we'll just pass now. Just infinity value on the board right now, just waiting for that opportunity. I think next turn's when we pull the trigger. Hold up our mana, and just start attacking in the air. Okay. Are they going to upkeep or tap my creature or something? I don't understand exactly what's happening. That's a card I'm going to tribute to Urborg, if they give me an opportunity. It looks like they do have some kind of instant or sorcery to immediately pay it off. If it's oh, Artillery Blast, on my 3/3? Sure. Not worried about that one. Meteorite? Yeah, I guess that's not very good here. There are 11 cards in deck. Yeah, well, we're just gonna untap. I don't see what they could possibly have on upkeep here. Yeah, we're just going to take this. We're going to make our island into a 3/3 flyer. We're going to go to combat. We're going to beat in here, here, and here. Okay, so now all we have to do is survive this turn, or they have to hold up every single spell they have, and like things are not easy here for them. They have a lot of opportunities to die. Impede momentum on that is not going to do it. Yeah, impede momentum is fine, but it is straight up just card disadvantage. Like, how many stun counters does this have? One? So next turn, it just comes back. Like, not my coming turn, but the one after that. And then it's just another thing they have to deal with. Oh. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Admittedly, not my favorite thing to see out of the opponent. They have, what, 5 creatures with Defender? 5 1/1 flyers? Yeah. I think we will kick the tribute to Urborg, hitting the Tura. Okay. We do kill that. We don't draw a land, but we do draw a threats undetected, huh? Well, we're gonna cast an Urborg Repossession. What are we getting back? Yavimaya Sojourner? And that's it right now? Yeah, we're gonna play this out. Play this, this, and this. Snare Spinner for my 1. Llanowar Green Widow for my that. Elfheim Worm. Actually, we'll take away Llanowar Green Widow. Take the Czar. And then Floriferous Vine Wall? Yeah. Please give me 2 spells. I would be much obliged if you gave me 2 spells. Okay, we're gonna play out the Snare Spinner, obviously. Then we're gonna go to combat. And they do necessarily need to do some blocking here. So... Oh, they're gonna do the big block. Alright. Yeah, that's A-okay with me. Yeah, I think we just pass the turn here. We're in a pretty good position. I know it looks like we only have the 2 minutes, so we have to be like pretty careful with what we're doing. But realistically, like, I think we have this one in the bag. Yeah, that's fine. Every land we draw, they have to deal with. Every spell we draw, they have to deal with. Now they have to block our last flying creature. It's going to be Nael. This only has 1 stun counter left on it as well. Sure. Sure. We're going to go in with this, and, well, that's it. And they can block or go to 2. They're going to go to 2. We will play out the Floriferous Vine Wall off of the Radiant Grove and the Molten Tributary. We'll go get a Haunted Mire, and then we'll pass the turn and yield till their end step. Definitely a long game. Coral Colony's not going to do it. It'll get them 1 blocker, but like, now they only have the 1 tap. Okay. Play out the Mortuary Mire, or Haunted Mire, whatever it's called. Turn this into a 3/3. Go to combat. Like, I don't know why they're doing this. I'm not going to waste a minute and 14 seconds looking at what's happening. Attack here, attack here, attack here. They have one flying blocker. I win the match. Return to details, and we are 1-0 over somebody pretty cool. I think. No, I was about to say I could swear I've seen that name before. I feel like I have played against that person at least once. And we're at 1:28 p.m. Yeah, I think that means I definitely have time for at least one more, so we're just gonna go in for one more match. I like the way that that one turned out. Of course, it didn't hurt that my opponent did nothing but play a bunch of dorky walls and give me ample time to make my 7th land drop. But that's the power of the Tatiova. Like, that made what, 5 3/3 flyers out of functionally useless land drops. We did lose the die roll again, which is a little unfortunate. Now we have the... oh, one-lander? Yeah, I'm not going to keep the one-lander on the draw. Unfortunately for me. If I could trade in, like, one of these Tatiovas for, like, a blue-green land, I probably would keep the hand, but I can't do that. Alright, now we're looking bad again. Guess we're going to 5. Now we do have 4 lands and some stuff. We're gonna keep it, and we're gonna put 1 land on the bottom. It's gonna be the Radiant Grove, and then I think we put the Tribute to Urborg on the bottom. Yeah, I think we kind of need to get lucky here. The mull to 5 is pretty awful. Let's see what our opponent has. Alright, well turn 1 do nothing is always fine. Okay, and then we do draw a 2-drop to play. So things are looking at least not miserable. That's the good news. Nothing on 2 is also good with me. We get a Snare Spinner, and we're on the fast track to the Magnagoth Sentry, if we draw any untapped source. Although ideally, like a blue, some manner of tap land next turn would be ideal. Hexbane Tortoise, that's fine. It does attack past my Snare Spinner, which is a little unfortunate. Ooh, but we do have a Threats Undetected, and I'm just going to fire that off right away. 1, because we don't have anything better to do. And 2, because it's a really good card. So, let's see what we have. Argivian Phalanx. We can cheat on mana a little bit. We can't cast the Tatiova. Czar is not very good. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 brings us down to 4. But it's a 4. I think it's the only 4 we can really get that's any good right now. We'll take that. We'll take the Floriferous Vine Wall. We'll take another Snare Spinner. And then for our 3, I think we'll take... actually, we'll take the Nail. Nail's a good way to get our, get some card advantage. If we draw the 4th land. So, pretty much no matter what they choose here, we have something to do next turn. Hexbane Tortoise is not an especially great card, but this is one of those turns where it could just deliver to me. Okay, they give me the 2 most medium creatures, but you know what? That's fine. I can play out the Vine Wall next turn if I don't draw land, and if I do draw land, I just play out the Sentry. Basic Mountain, huh? Well, we're not going to block. We're not going to block, that's for sure. We are on a mull to 5. but we did just go back up one card because of the threats undetected, and we did actually take the draw, so we've kind of slightly unmulliganed ourselves. What would be bad here is like an extremely powerful play, hoping that it's... Oh, yeah, that's more than okay. The generic 3-2 is not really that big of a deal. However, we do stumble on mana again, which is a little unfortunate. I'm gonna play out the Vine Wall. And I think here we just take a Forest and play out the Snare Spinner. Now we can start to make more aggressive trades with our Snare Spinners, and if they have some kind of crazy combat trick, that's okay with me. Because what we can do is get it back with Urborg Repossession later on in the game. And even if what they want to do is enlist the help of the Elvish Hydromancer, I might just still double block anyway. In fact, I might actually just chump with the Floriferous Vine Wall because I already got my value out of it. We'll see when the time comes. Cool. I just learned I'll be getting Labor Day off, which is always nice. Alright, pre-combat main to beginning of combat. Let's see what they got. Oh, they're just going to attack with both. Okay, well it does feel like there's some kind of pump spell incoming, but I don't really think I have too many ways to play around it. So we're just going to try and block. And we're going to try and block the creature that has the highest chance of getting them some potential upside later, so we're just going to block doubles here. And no blocks there. And if they have something, they have something. Like, we knew that we were going to get hit by something. Yeah, okay, so +3/+3, +4/+4, and trample, which means they'll get in 1 damage. But that doesn't bother me very much. They do 2 for 1 my thing, which is not the most fun in the world. But that's alright. I'm just gonna untap, play a Magnagoth Sentry, and Essence Scatter. Well, that's not very good for me, is it? I'm already at a pretty low life total, and I'm at a deficit in every other possible way imaginable, and I just got 2 for 1, so that's pretty bad. Alright. We're going to get attacked for a lot of damage. What they should be doing is... yeah, attacking with both. I don't really have a choice here. I'm just not blocking. There's a chance they play an even bigger creature, and I do need something to do. And also on my turn, I might just have no plays. Yeah, that's not very good. Just cashing this in? Jesus Christ. Pretty bad place to be. They have another counterspell? Or one of their last 2 cards exactly a removal spell? Okay. We do gain a bit of life in the exchange, so we can afford a little bit of leeway. But like, we need to start playing creatures and having them stick here, otherwise we're definitely going to lose this game. The Bortuk is good, especially since we have 1, 2, 3, 4 land types on the battlefield. And at this point I do think we pull the trigger and block one of the 3/2s, otherwise we just straight up die to any combat trick. But I can't really block with the Snare Spinner yet. go to 6. What do they have for 7 mana? Sunbathing Root Wallow with 3 basic land types? Not the absolute ideal. Okay. This is good. We can get back the Magnagoth Sentry now. Right? Green, white, black, blue? Yeah. All we have to do is actually resolve it. And if that actually happens, we're looking pretty great. Whether or not it resolves is the thing that's going to be up to our opponent. Well... yeah, now we're kind of just fucked. A little unfortunate. Multiply feels bad, man. Yeah. Good game, opponent. Oh, well, I think we're gonna try and cram one more. And see if we can avoid the Multi-5. And then missing land drops. And then our opponent having a start that punishes us pretty heavily for it. In our defense, not going for the greedier play there still would have destroyed us. I think we do keep this hand. And depending on what colors my opponent is, it'll decide whether or not I'm looking more for the turn 2 Snare Spinner, or if I'm content to do the turn 2 Sunlit Marsh or Tributary. I think right now I'm on Tributary over the Sunlit Marsh. Cult Conscript, huh? Yeah. Then we will play out the Snare Spinner. Turn 2. Okay. And Cult Conscript is one of those cards that can definitely do a lot of work as the game goes on. It's a little bit unassuming, but there's a lot of ways to have incidental value off of your sacrifice effects. Okay, no attacks is good for me. This feels like an Essence Scatter, but of course I don't have any plays this turn anyway, so we're just going to play out the Molten Tributary and pass the turn. Not interested in trading 1 for 2 on damage. My opponent does nothing with their turn, which is always good for me. I don't think we bite down here, but if they do anything untoward, it might be the correct play. We'll see what happens. But I can't currently envision a scenario where I have something I can bite down, and something I also want to bite down. But we'll see. I guess there's that 3-1 in black, and that's pretty good. Aether Channeler? Yeah. It's a good one. Are they gonna bounce this? Ooh, that's pretty good for me. That means I do get some value here. We are going to kill the Aether Channeler. At this point, I think we might just be waiting for the value on the full Scout the Wilds, instead of just casting it next turn. I think we'll just play on the Snare Spinner next turn and play one of our lands. Yeah. We'll play this here. Play out the Haunted Mire. And then next turn we can Scout with Kicker. They're on 5 cards, we are on 4. We do have 3 lands in hand, but one of our lands also comes with a pair of 1/1s staple to it. Aggressive Sabotage, huh? Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna discard 2 lands. Simple as that. can't afford to attack, which is good. And now we unmulligan ourselves and undo that damage they just did with Threat Zone Detected, which has been a card I've been pretty impressed with so far. It may not seem like a whole lot, but it's been pretty impressive. Did we somehow mill our big dude? Where's our big dude? Where is our big dude? Oh, there he is, Sojourner. We have all 5 of the basic land types here, so he's at a big discount. Then there's a Nael, and since we have all 5 types, that's definitely good. Tatiova's slightly less good, but we can cast it right now, so I think that's worth considering. So that's a 3, and then we need a... We can cast a Vohar, and Vohar's pretty solid. Also an Elfheim Worm, but we already have stuff we want to do. We'll just take the Vohar. Yeah, go ahead, opponent. Go ahead and let me have 2 good cards. I've been pretty happy with this one. Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, really thinks that Threats Undetected is awful, but I gotta tell you, at least in Limited, I've been very, very impressed with it. Yeah, this card does lead to long turns, that's for sure. A lot of thinking, both on my part and my opponent's part. Definitely one of the slower cards in the format. They go ahead and give me a Vohar and a Tatiova. And hey, I'll definitely take it. So if they make me discard again, I think I'm on Scout the Wilderness and possibly Vohar. I think Shalai's Acolyte is strong enough on its own merits. No, they have their own. Okay. So aggressive sabotage they can do with some work next turn. But I don't know how good that is. They did elect to not give us the Sojourner, so we're just gonna play out the 2 cards we can. And we can't attack in at all now, so we just play the 2 cards. They know exactly what... Well, no, they don't know what our hand is. We do have 3 unknowns. And we just pass turn. I'm pretty happy with our current position. Start looting next turn. Maybe pitch the Scout the Wilds. It just feels like we don't really have a perfect opportunity to play it. It just doesn't really fit in the curve too extremely well. And we're not really curving like into anything super big. We're just missing 1 land drop for the Shalai's Acolyte. So Scout the Wilderness definitely performing about as average as I expected. I didn't give it a very high rating in my set review, and so far it's kind of performed about how I would expect. If you can kick it, it's actually pretty solid, because you're not only going up the land, but your land spell has some added utility. And in a deck like this one, where we're going to consistently have the kick ability, that's pretty cool. But like, even then, like, do I want to cast a Scout the Wilderness? Or do I want to cast a Shalai's Acolyte next turn? Probably just the, now that I think about it, because this has kicker, I guess the Scout the Wilderness. Okay, well, no attacks from them. They're going to play a 3/3 flyer, which is definitely not bad. We're going to draw a land. I was thinking that this might be kind of annoying, but then I look at our board state, and we have a pair of Snare Spinners, and Tatiova on the way. If we just play out the Shalai's Acolyte and try and triple block them, they do only have 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I think one of the ways this game goes bad for us is if we don't find some kind of way to positively interact with the Sengir Connoisseur. And we don't have any removal in hand, so I am just going to play it out. And no attacks, and we have looting up if we want to. And I think at this point we do just loot away the Scout the Wilds. Interesting that our opponent has had nothing to do with the Cult conscript so far. I definitely don't think it's a great card if you don't have anything to do with it. It's just a 2-1, but that is like replacement level at the very least. Loot away a swamp, that's fine. What you got? Sacrifice Vohar. Or are they just gonna aggressive sabotage me here? Yeah, it's fine. I mean... Actually, I think we will be looting if they try to aggressive sabotage us. Discard the Scout the Wilderness, and we do have Graveyard Recursion, so I'm not actually very upset about discarding these. It does suck, of course, that they got 2 Mind Rots in one game, but like, we're pretty far away from being like just dead here. And then we draw a Magnagoth Sentry to kind of punish them here. We don't really have a good way to utilize the Bite Down if we got it back. And the only other card we can do is Threats Undetected. And we have a card we can actually cast. At the risk of getting possibly hit with another discard spell, I'm just going to play out my Magnagoth Sentry in pass turn. And we do have removal spells, so it's not like we're 0% to just kill this thing. What's this? Rexian Warhorse? Sure. They can have a generic 3-3. Pretty bad on this board. What you got? They can't really attack, so they pass. I think we loot away the land. Well, it's not very good. We have 1 black source. I don't think we have that many double black cards, but we also have not that many white cards either. We'll discard the Radiant Grove. Play out the Contaminated Aquifer. Go to combat. With 1 black mana, what could they have? They could just block with the Cult Conscript, and then they get a counter. Then anytime something dies, they get it back for free. Yeah, I think we just pass there. Now, if we want to, we can try some Vohar stuff, like get back the Bite Down, and try to bite down the Sengir Connoisseur at instant speed with our Sentry, which very well could be the play depending on what they do. Okay, that's fine. Opponent pretty deep in the tank. Gonna go to combat. No combat, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's certainly interesting that they just have nothing to do. It definitely smells like there's something going on in their hand. So the reason I'm playing out the Vine Wall instead of just, you know, like, pitching into the Vohar is because every land we draw is good for our Tatiova, and if we get the land, we can pitch it away anyway. So yeah, we'll pitch that, lay out the sentry, and we're on the fast track to like an Alpha Strike victory relatively soon. There's gonna come a time when we're just gonna be able to like shoot down the Send Gear Connoisseur with our bite down. And just attack with an army of 4/4s and 3/3s and stuff. Close the preview panel, we're actually a little too sizable for it. No attack with the Battlefly Swarms, interesting. Argivian Phalanx is 1 mana. Think. Play my 4/4 with Vigilance. Still have enough mana to do the stuff with the Vohar. They sacrifice theirs for a very, very, very greedy Mind Rot, and so far it has not worked very well for them. They look like they have a lot of stuff going on in their hand, but I have to wonder how much stuff they could possibly be doing. Oh, well that's definitely a Tatiova. Well we are going to play it. The question is, do we play it now? Or do we play it when we have the land in our hand? And I think we play it when we have the land in our hand. They are ahead of us on deck. We do deck before they do, but like, they do not have infinite time here. They have a very, very finite time limit to their game plan. Okay. They must understand that we can do the instant speed bite down play. Idyllic Beachfront. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Pull the trigger on this Tatiova. Play the Idyllic Beachfront. Turn this Haunted Mire into, well no, this Molten Tributary into a forever 3/3 flyer. Yeah, no counterspell there seems like not good. I don't really understand what they're doing if what they're doing is not countering spells. I can't attack very well into this board now without the Vohar up, so we're just gonna pass turn. But at this point we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually solid attacks. Yavimaya Sojourner? I mean, that's just the minimum cost, isn't it? Literally one, this, and this. Yeah, we'll just play out a 4/6. We still have the 4 mana up, so we can do all the stuff we need to. They're on 7 cards in hand and not playing out a 7th land. There's a 7th land. A red source. Maybe they were just missing a color all this time and we've just given them enough time to do what they want. I have to imagine that there's definitely cards they'd be playing here though. Like, they just do nothing. We're going to attack with a Yavimaya Sojourner. Well, no, not the Yavimaya Sojourner. Whatever we attack first with gets blocked pretty well by the Battlefly. So any pathway to victory necessarily demands that we remove the Send Gear first. Sure. They're just gonna play out a deal 3 for 4 mana. Okay. Basic planes, yeah, we'll play it and we'll make ourselves a 3/3 flyer. At this point, I think we start pushing the pace a little bit, but I think next turn is when we do it. Yeah. Like, there will come a point where we can just Alpha Strike with everything, and the attacks and blocks they have are so bad that it's not even worth bringing up. Phyrexian Espionage. Yeah, sure. We could draw all the cards in the world. Automatic Librarian does not fly. We just have so much flying right now. They only have 2 mana left. So this is I think our turn. And I think that we do it with the Magnagoth Sentry. No, we do it with our Yavimaya. So we're gonna sacrifice. Oh wait, we can only do that at sorcery speed. Okay. A little unfortunate. So now I'm kind of hoping that we draw the land. We do draw land. And we are going to turn it into a 3/3 flyer with haste. Now we're kind of forced into doing that other play, so we're just going to get the bite down. We can play it this turn, okay. Well, I forgot that the Vohar does have to sacrifice for that to occur, so that's a little bit bad. But we're still in a good place to attack with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. And pretty much no matter what happens, if they block with this Sengir Connoisseur, I will be finding some kind of way to kill it. Okay, they're gonna block there, that's fine. Now we're not putting our Tatiova at risk here. That's a fine block for me. That's fine. Blocking a 4/4 instead of a 3/3 means that if combat goes through and all those triggers go on the stack, I'm necessarily in a fine position to try and get the bite down. They're gonna... what? Oh, so they do have some kind of spell to cast. Blocker order, huh? Yeah, I don't really mind the Battlefly Swarm being around. I will kill 2 of their creatures. And so far, this is looking like a great combat for me. Okay. They go to 7 life here? What happened to the Sengir? Nothing? Really? Well, I have to imagine that the bite down's going to work now. So we're just going to bite down the Yavimaya Sojourner on the Sengir Connoisseur and see if that works. I forgot that only happens once each turn, and it already happened with the Vohar, so they don't get any benefit from the combat. That just dies. Okay. Well, now they need a board wipe. It's board wipe or bust for my opponent. There are a couple of cards in the format that do it here. I don't remember what they are. I know one of them is in black. I think it grants like -3/-3 or something. Solkanar? Well, that's not going to do it. Solkanar just leaves them dead on board. They can deal 3 to something. That's fine. They can gain some life maybe. But so far, this is looking like a, yeah, slam dunk victory for me. Okay, well I don't really have time for another game, but I hope that you enjoyed the 3 that we just did. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna upload it right now. You've been watching Robot Rallis. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back tonight to finish out the rest of this league, and I'll probably upload that video as well, hoping to get to at least the 5 victories so that I can, buy my way into another draft. Thank you, and have a fine day.